Something very important that many of us need in this modern life, and that is how to calm down our nervous system, which is usually under pressure. Hello everybody, welcome back. For those of you who are new, my name is Setare. Welcome to this channel. In this channel, I mix what I have learned from science, from natural medicine and holistic medicine, as well as my experiences to make a healing potion that you can take as sips of joy to make your life healthier and happier. In this video, I'll talk about 3 easy ways, all proven by neuroscience as effective ways to calm down your nervous system, and that helps you a lot to have a better, more joyful life if you apply these ways in your everyday life. The first one, which is very important and very effective, is self-talk. The brain has different parts and different layers, and each of these layers and parts have their own jobs. Even though they work together as a team, they still have some specific responsibilities. Basically, the lower parts of the brain, which is the brainstem, the thalamus, and our limbic system, are focused on our survival activities. We have lots of centers, especially in the brainstem, that regulate our blood circulation, respiration, digestion. They control our hormonal system, and lots of these activities that happen in the body, and they are important to keep us alive. Then the limbic system, which is the center that conditions us. It gives us conditioned behavior, emotional behavior. When, for example, you hear something and suddenly you react in a specific way because you had an experience before and it was not a good experience, or anything that is connecting your emotions and past experiences and memories to what's happening now. So this is kind of like our autopilot. Then we have the outer layer of the brain, or the top part of the brain, which is called cerebral cortex. And that layer is under our full voluntary control. Sometimes it's also considered the luxury part of the brain because it is not focused on survival activities. That is the area that we get our critical thinking, reasoning, personalities, attitudes. We can work on that layer. We can make new neural pathways, and based on that, we can change our mindset. We can think in different ways. We can train our brain, and that is why it's called the luxury part, because none of these are involved in surviving. It's just to become successful. It's not the survival mode. The electrical signals or messages first reach the lower parts of the brain. So first they reach the brainstem, the limbic system, and these areas that are more focused on involuntary activities, on respiration, digestion, circulation, hormonal system, and these areas, and then the limbic system that gives us emotional behavior that is also trying to keep us alive. Imagine ancient people in nature. It was important for them to connect their past experiences, their memories to what's happening now to be able to keep themselves alive. So first we get messages there, then it goes to the cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex is the last destination or the last receiver of electrical signals. We have a little part in the limbic system which is called amygdala, because it's very tiny. It looks like an almond, and that's why it's called amygdala. And that is also called the panic button of the body. The electrical signals or messages first reach the panic button, and then later and slower they reach the cerebral cortex, which means that that first reaction, that quick reaction, is coming out of fear because it's coming from the panic button. And then it goes to the cerebral cortex. We can think about it, we can analyze the situation and come up with a better reaction. The panic button is developed to save us from potential dangers. So in this modern life, that is very, very different from the natural setting when ancient people were living in unknown nature. It still sends us electrical signals. It wants to stop us. It wants to prevent us from doing new experiences, because a new experience in an unknown place, unknown nature can be dangerous, can be a potential danger to life, but not in this setting that is very different. Imagine that you want to talk in front of a group of people. What would be dangerous about it? Maybe just few people laugh at you or something like that. Nothing dangerous, nothing that is considered a real danger. But the panic button keeps sending you electrical signals and it wants to stop you because an unknown experience is connected to potential danger. Self-talk helps us in this area. When we talk to ourselves, we are using our cerebral cortex, so we are moving beyond that panic button. When you consciously use your cerebral cortex, that part of the brain, especially the front part or prefrontal cortex that is involved in planning and reasoning, sends messages to the panic button. It communicates with the panic button and calms it down. That is why it's very important to talk to ourselves, and that is why writing or journaling can help us a lot, because when we are doing those activities, we are actually using the cerebral cortex and the critical thinking and reasoning, and it calms down the panic button that is basically the autopilot. Self-awareness can help us a lot. Instead of going through the day on autopilot that is connecting us to our limbic system and that panic button, when we are aware of things, when we consciously think about things, it makes our daily life smoother, calmer, and more successful. The second way that you can calm down your nervous system and the whole body and mind is by the way that you breathe. Our autonomic nervous system has two branches that are called sympathetic and parasympathetic. And the way that we breathe when sympathetic is active is different from when parasympathetic is active. Sympathetic is active whenever we need to work harder, mentally or physically or both. It sends more blood to the lungs, to the heart, and to the skeletal muscles to prepare the body for some type of hard work, mentally or physically or both. And the way that we breathe there is different. That is called fight or flight, a kind of emergency situation for the body. Parasympathetic is when we are relaxed. It is also called rest and digest. That is active when we are very relaxed. There is no stress, pressure, there is no dangerous situation, nothing that put pressure on us, and that is activating the parasympathetic nervous system. And the way that we breathe when parasympathetic is active is different. Think of someone who's sleeping. That is the way that we breathe when parasympathetic is active. We breathe slowly, deeply, and it's without efforts. It's not having deep breath by effort like this. It just comes by itself very smoothly. The flow of air is very deeply and gentle, and it gives us calmness. In this modern life, sympathetic is active too much because of all this stress, pressure, all this quick life that we have. Sympathetic most of the time is active, and that is not good for health. Something that we can help is mimicking the way that we breathe when parasympathetic is active. When parasympathetic is active, we breathe that way, and when we breathe that way, it activates parasympathetic. So basically we are using the other direction to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and it very quickly calms us down. So when you breathe deeply, quietly, and calmly, like the way that you breathe when you're sleeping, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, and immediately it calms the whole body and mind down. Another thing that is very important is consuming the package that gets activated when the stress response of the body gets active. When the stress response gets activated, lots of chemicals will be released inside the body to help us save ourselves from that dangerous situation. Those chemicals are coming from our nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, as well as our hormonal system. And we are supposed to use those chemicals to save ourselves. But if the situation is not a real danger for our system, we won't use those chemicals. Imagine that you're scared because you have an interview or an exam, or you're mad at someone, and not that because that person is attacking you, it's just something completely mentally. And we won't use those chemicals in those situations. The chemicals will give us lots of tension, and they will be considered as toxins. They toxify our body because they are not used, and it would be too much work for the liver to deactivate all those unwanted chemicals. So a very good way in this situation is to consume the package quickly. Imagine that you are walking in a natural area and you suddenly see a big bear. You just jump somewhere, you climb a tree, you run somewhere to hide, something that consumes that package. You can mimic that in the real daily life, and that way you can consume the package. By a quick physical activity, you can consume the package and get rid of the side effects of all those unwanted chemicals. If you're nervous, if you're scared of something, not a real danger, it's just something mental, or if you're mad at someone, you can try just to go somewhere very quickly, just a very short run, or just going upstairs, downstairs, something that you would do if you see something scary and you want to run away. That will consume the package, and it keeps you very calm. In this stressful, fast-paced modern life, we all need to practice these ways to calm down our nervous system and the whole body and mind to have a better life. I hope you use them and take advantage of them. Have a great week. I will see you next week.